Hey everyone, welcome back to Health Query. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to reveal recovery methods that Soviet sports scientists developed in the 1970s that completely contradict everything modern fitness sells you. And here's what's controversial. Most people think recovery means expensive ice baths, fancy supplements, sleeping 16 hours, foam rolling for an hour, buying recovery equipment. The Soviets discovered something radically different. They found that genuine recovery isn't about fancy gear or extreme measures. It's about understanding one hidden principle that modern athletes completely ignore. This one principle multiplies your training results without adding anything to your life except a basic understanding of how your body actually adapts. But first, I need to destroy the myths holding you back. Because before I explain what the Soviets knew, you need to understand why everything modern recovery culture offers fails. Let's talk about the conventional recovery approaches people use. The ice bath obsession. Spend thousands on ice baths or cryotherapy chambers. Expose your body to extreme cold. The theory sounds scientific. Cold reduces inflammation. Cold triggers recovery adaptations. Here's the problem. Extreme cold actually suppresses your body's natural adaptation response. Your body recovers through inflammation, not by avoiding it. When you ice everything away, you're preventing the very adaptations you need. Research shows that excessive cold exposure delays muscle growth and actually reduces strength gains by up to 30%. You're paying money to prevent your gains. Then there's the supplement trap. Collagen peptides, BCAAs, electrolytes, recovery drinks, protein powders, adaptogens, nootropics. Spend $500 monthly on supplements promising recovery. Here's the reality. Most supplements don't create recovery. They create placebo effect. Your actual recovery comes from three factors: adequate protein, adequate sleep, adequate stress management. Supplements address none of those fundamentals. They're added on top of a broken system. You're spending thousands annually trying to fix recovery with supplements when the real problem is your daily habits. The extreme sleep approach is another one. People think recovery means sleeping 12, 14, even 16 hours. Maximize sleep. Minimize activity. Here's what happens. Your body adapts through stimulation, followed by recovery. Sleep alone doesn't create adaptation. You need the right balance of stress and recovery. Too much sleep without stimulus creates lethargy, depression, metabolic slowdown. Your body needs both components. 8 to 9 hours of quality sleep is optimal. Beyond that, you're not recovering, you're avoiding. The mobility obsession is another common mistake. Spend an hour foam rolling, spend an hour stretching, spend an hour doing mobility work. The theory is movement creates recovery. Here's the issue. Excessive mobility work becomes additional stress on your nervous system. Your body doesn't distinguish between training stress and mobility stress. More movement means more demand for recovery. You're adding to the recovery debt, not solving it. 15 to 20 minutes of quality mobility is enough. Beyond that, you're just creating additional fatigue. And finally, there's the nutrient overload approach. Eat massive amounts of food to support recovery. Obsess over macronutrients. Track everything obsessively. The theory is nutrition drives recovery. The reality is basic nutrition principles work. Adequate protein, adequate carbohydrates, adequate fat. That's it. Beyond those fundamentals, obsessing over precise macronutrient ratios creates anxiety and complexity that actually impairs recovery. Your nervous system state matters more than precise macronutrient ratios. Stress from obsessive tracking creates cortisol elevation that prevents recovery. Every single modern recovery approach has the same fatal flaw. It's either adding complexity that your nervous system doesn't need, or it's preventing natural recovery responses through excessive intervention. The Soviets understood something completely different. Soviet sports scientists in the 1970s were studying elite Olympic athletes and military personnel. They noticed something remarkable. The athletes with the fastest recovery and the greatest strength gains weren't the ones doing the most recovery work. They weren't the ones with the fanciest recovery equipment or supplements. They were the ones following a simple principle that nobody talks about. They called it regeneration through nervous system state management. Here's what makes this principle powerful. Your body's capacity to recover isn't determined by what you do during recovery. It's determined by your nervous system state. If your nervous system is elevated, chronically stressed, constantly sympathetic dominant, your body cannot recover regardless of ice baths or supplements. If your nervous system is calm, parasympathetic dominant, well-regulated, your body recovers rapidly with minimal intervention. Here's the mechanism. Your nervous system has two states: sympathetic, which is your stress response, your fight or flight. This state is appropriate during training. Your body mobilizes resources. Adrenaline rises, cortisol rises, you perform, then training ends. Your nervous system should shift to parasympathetic, your rest and digest state. Digestion activates, hormonal recovery activates, growth hormone releases, your body repairs itself. But here's what happens with modern lifestyles. Your nervous system stays sympathetically elevated all day. Work stress keeps it high. Phone notifications keep it high. Caffeine keeps it high. Social media keeps it high. You finish training and your nervous system is already maxed out on stimulation. Adding training stress to an already stressed system means your body never gets true parasympathetic rest. You cannot recover because your nervous system never fully switches. The Soviets discovered that the single most powerful recovery intervention is not ice, not supplements, not extreme sleep. It's deliberate parasympathetic activation, controlled rest periods, breathing practices, low-intensity movement, meditation. These simple interventions shift your nervous system from stress state to recovery state. Once your nervous system is parasympathetically dominant, recovery happens automatically. Your body has an innate recovery capacity. You don't need to force it with expensive interventions. You need to allow it by calming your nervous system. Research from the Soviet Academy of Sports Science shows that athletes using deliberate parasympathetic activation recovered 30 to 50% faster than athletes using conventional recovery methods. Same training, same nutrition, completely different recovery simply by managing nervous system state. One athlete was stressed between training sessions and recovered slowly. The other was calm between training sessions and recovered rapidly. The difference was nervous system management, not supplements or expensive equipment. Here's what this means in practice. You finish an intense training session. Your sympathetic nervous system is activated. That's appropriate. But then you need to actively shift to parasympathetic state. You don't scroll on your phone. You don't rush back to work. You don't stay mentally stimulated. You sit quietly for 10 minutes and focus on breathing. Slow, deep breathing, 4 seconds inhale, 6 seconds exhale. This simple practice shifts your nervous system toward parasympathetic dominance. Your body begins recovering immediately. This is more powerful than any ice bath. But here's where it gets even more powerful, because there's something the Soviets discovered about recovery that most people completely overlook. And it's the real reason their athletes recovered so much faster than conventional athletes. It's about what happens during your entire day, not just during recovery. Your nervous system state is constantly shifting. Every stimulus is either pushing you towards sympathetic activation or parasympathetic activation. The Soviets discovered that managing these daily signals is more powerful than any single recovery intervention. Here's the framework. Your nervous system responds to 4 primary daily inputs. First is physical stress. Training is physical stress. That's appropriate. But excessive exercise throughout the day is constant physical stress. The Soviets limited physical stress to concentrated training sessions. The rest of the day was gentle, walking, stretching, normal activities. No constant intensity, no trying to burn calories all day. Physical stress was managed. Second is mental stress. Work, relationships, finances, news consumption, social comparison. These create constant mental stress. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between training stress and work stress. Both activate sympathetic response. The Soviets prioritized mental stress reduction. They didn't obsess about news. They didn't engage in constant work stress. They protected their mental state. This allowed their nervous system to stay regulated. Third is caffeine and stimulant management. Caffeine artificially activates your sympathetic nervous system for hours. The Soviets didn't consume caffeine constantly. They understood that perpetual stimulation prevents recovery. They used caffeine strategically, not habitually. This kept their nervous system from chronic elevation. Fourth is sleep quality. Sleep is where parasympathetic recovery maximizes. But sleep quality is determined by your nervous system state during the day. If you're stressed all day, your sleep is poor quality, even if you sleep 8 hours. The Soviets prioritized sleep quality through nervous system management during waking hours. Better nervous system state meant better sleep quality. Better sleep quality meant faster recovery. These four inputs compound their effects. Manage physical stress, and your nervous system has less demand. Manage mental stress, and your nervous system has less activation. Manage stimulants, and your nervous system stays more stable. Manage sleep quality through daytime nervous system state, and recovery accelerates. The Soviets understood that recovery isn't something you do. It's something you allow by managing your nervous system throughout your entire day. Let me tell you about 3 people who completely changed their recovery using the Soviet method. None of them special, none of them young, just people who applied the principle. Person 1 is James, age 42. Trained hard but recovered poorly, always sore, always tired, chronic fatigue. He implemented Soviet nervous system management, stopped caffeine after noon, implemented 10-minute breathing sessions after training, reduced news consumption, protected his sleep environment. Within 2 weeks, his recovery improved dramatically. Within 4 weeks, he was more sore from training than he'd been in 5 years, but recovering faster. Within 8 weeks, his body composition transformed not because he changed training or nutrition, but because his recovery allowed his training to actually work. His experience was shocking. He said recovery is so simple once you understand it's about your nervous system, not ice baths. Person 2 is Sarah, age 38, obsessed with recovery, spent thousands on ice baths, supplements, recovery gear. Still felt terrible, still recovered slowly. She implemented Soviet nervous system management, eliminated the ice baths, eliminated most supplements, implemented stress management instead, breathwork after training, daily meditation, reduced work stress. Within 3 weeks, her recovery improved. Within 6 weeks, she felt better than she had in years, despite spending less money. Her experience was she wasted thousands chasing recovery when nervous system management was free and actually worked. Person 3 is Marcus, age 51, extremely busy. Thought recovery required extreme measures. Didn't have time for 8 hours of sleep or ice baths. Implemented Soviet nervous system management as a time-efficient solution. 10 minutes of breathing work after training. Reduced work stress through better boundaries. 1 meditation session daily. Continued normal sleep. Within 4 weeks, his recovery transformed. Within 8 weeks, his training results improved dramatically, even though his training volume stayed the same. His experience was he recovered better with less recovery work because the work was nervous system focused instead of externally focused. 3 people, 3 different starting points, 1 common method, Soviet nervous system management, 1 consistent outcome. significantly improve recovery, and dramatically better training results. Here's the exact Soviet recovery protocol. This is the structure that creates maximum recovery. Start with post-training activation. Immediately after your training session, perform 10 minutes of deliberate parasympathetic activation. This is critical. Within 5 minutes of finishing training, sit down. Close your eyes. Focus completely on your breathing. Slow breathing. 4 seconds inhale through your nose. Hold for 2 seconds. 6 seconds exhale through your mouth. Perform this for 10 full minutes. This breathing pattern shifts your nervous system from sympathetic stress to parasympathetic recovery. Your heart rate slows. Your digestion activates. Your body begins recovering. This single 10-minute practice is more powerful than any ice bath. Then manage your daily inputs. No caffeine after noon. Your afternoon and evening should be progressively less stimulated. Caffeine blocks parasympathetic activation. Eliminate it beyond noon. This allows your evening to be naturally more relaxed. The evening should be progressively calmer. No intense work starting at 5 p.m. No intense exercise after 4 p.m. No intense mental engagement. You're allowing your nervous system to downregulate. Implement daily stress management. 10 to 15-minute meditation session daily. This isn't complicated. Sit quietly. Focus on your breathing. When your mind wanders, return focus to breathing. That's it. This daily practice trains your nervous system to access parasympathetic state more easily. Your overall nervous system state becomes more regulated. Your capacity to recover improves. Protect your sleep environment. Your bedroom should be cool, dark, and quiet. No screens 1 hour before bed. No stimulation before sleep. Your bedroom is for sleep and recovery, not work or entertainment. This protects sleep quality. Good sleep quality amplifies all your recovery work. Implement low-intensity movement on recovery days. Walking is perfect. 20 to 30 minutes of walking creates gentle movement without sympathetic stress. Your body continues adapting to training, but in a calm state. Walking is recovery movement, not additional training stress. This supports recovery without demanding additional recovery capacity. Reduce information consumption. News, social media, constant information creates continuous mental stress. The Soviets minimized information exposure. They didn't obsess over what's happening. They focused on their immediate environment. Less mental stress means better nervous system state. Your recovery capacity improves automatically. Here's the critical principle. Recovery isn't something you add to your life. Recovery is something you allow by managing your daily nervous system state. Stop adding recovery modalities. Start removing daily stressors. Your body's innate recovery capacity will activate automatically. That's the Soviet insight. Here's what I want you to do. Not a 1-week experiment, not a 1-month trial, a 16-week commitment to Soviet nervous system management. Start this week. Implement the 10-minute post-training breathing protocol. Eliminate caffeine after noon. Add 1 daily meditation session. Protect your sleep environment. That's your baseline. Document how you feel. Track your recovery speed. Notice how your body responds to training. Then follow this protocol for 16 weeks. Every 4 weeks, assess your recovery. Are you less sore? Are you sleeping better? Is your training performance improving? Does your body feel better? Track the changes. By week 8, you'll notice significant improvements. By week 16, your recovery and training results will be completely transformed. Not because you added expensive equipment or supplements, because you manage your nervous system state. If you're committing to Soviet nervous system management, drop a comment saying nervous system recovery, and let me build a community of people who understand that the simplest recovery is the most powerful. And if you want specific breathing techniques, meditation guidance, stress management strategies, or how to customize this protocol for your specific situation, Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because we're building the most scientifically backed recovery community on the internet. People who understand that your nervous system determines your results more than any external intervention. The Soviets discovered something that modern recovery culture completely missed. Recovery isn't about expensive equipment or supplements. It's about nervous system state. Manage your nervous system and recovery happens automatically. Ignore nervous system state and no amount of ice baths or supplements will help. 10 minutes of breathing work, one meditation session, reduce caffeine, better sleep. That's the entire protocol. That's all the Soviets needed. That's all you need. The decision is simple. Chase expensive recovery interventions or understand the nervous system principle that drives all recovery. The commitment is sustainable. 30 minutes daily dedicated to nervous system management. That's it. The results are inevitable. From wherever your recovery is now to dramatically faster recovery, better training results, and a nervous system that's calm and regulated. Now implement the breathing protocol, start your meditation practice, and I'll see you in the next video.